G'day my friends, Marty here from Marty's Garden. I've got an exciting video for you today about growing tomatoes. Now, I know not everyone's going to like this method, but it's a way I've got to do it because I lost 90% of my tomatoes last season, and it's a part of my cash crop that I sell with my compost to customers as they come in and to locals around the area. So to me, it's vital for my plans into the future for organic gardening and farming, etc., which I'm not going to share just yet, but I've got some great stuff coming up if all goes well. Now, tomatoes. Yep, you can see them here. They're growing, and I've had to put black plastic on the ground. Now, before you bail out on me, understand that I have spoke for years about not doing this because I don't like plastic so much. But you know what? If it's good enough for the Korean natural farmers and the top guys doing that, and actually the guy that's leading it at the moment in Korea, he's doing it, it's good enough for me, and I'm finding that it's working absolutely brilliant. Look at these tomatoes. These are called the tomato berry. Now, we're not even in spring yet, and this full sun position is absolutely firing. And I've got my worm farms and composting system right next to it, so it's pumping like no tomorrow. And I spoke about that in my last video about why it's a good idea to do that. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out before you go and learn about why you should plant tomatoes next to your composting and worm farming systems and the advantages. Now, this is the tomato berry. It's an early producing tomato. It's a hybrid. It's an F1. I usually grow heirlooms, but I saw this in the shop and I absolutely loved it, and I wanted to grow and start the experiment early and see if I got blight onto my tomatoes and how well they would perform, because they're calling in my area 45 to 85% more chance of rainfall here because of warming seas, not because of La Nina and El Nino, which I've been discussing a couple of videos back, but because of warm seas, which can produce more onshore storms and activity and things like that. So if we go down here below, now I'm going to take you out the back and show you where I've got the other planting, so hang around and watch that as well. This is my first planting, and you can see here that's a bottle. It's a liquid feed, so I don't hit any water on these leaves at all. I'm trying to only just rainfall. And then I've got the plastic below that to stop backsplash. Now, this was all compost from my composting system, and it had, so I've been filling it up, and it had sweet potato growing here before that. And I can keep it clean from weeds and all that type of stuff. And this plant is really, really tall and growing amazing. Really, look at the hands on these. That's the benefit of growing in really good compost and right next to worm farms. And you can see I've not just pulled it off on one plant. Let's have a look at another one here. That is some of the longest hands of cherry tomatoes I have ever grown. And that's just a small hand. Super, super duper excited about that. And look, there's plenty of them just happening everywhere. And it's going to go really, really, really tall. And I'm going to have to get some type of ladder to manage them. Now, I am doing something as well, so I'll just show you that. They're cucumbers, so they're another part of my cash crop if I can get lots of them. We'll be selling packs with the cucumbers, zucchinis, cherry tomatoes, okra, beans, things like that to people, cheaper than what you can get at Woolies and twice as good quality, and help people survive. And the money goes towards, it's actually some of it's going towards a new system that I'm working on to help people in less need than ourselves, but it's something that's still a fair bit away, so I can't really mention too much about that yet. But here we've got some different types of chards and okras and things like that growing, and some peas and stuff at the back there. So that's what's happening now, and if you're in temperate areas, I recommend that you start planting those if you haven't already. And what we'll do now is we'll head out to the backyard and I'll show you the new planting there. They are Tommy Toes, and I've also got, so they're an heirloom cherry tomato, the big red sort of big size marble, where they're bigger than a marble, and they're really, really delicious. They've won lots of awards in the past, and they actually are an heirloom. People just call them just cherry tomatoes, but the tiny Tims, the real small ones, they're also an heirloom. They're the ones that just pop up everywhere around the place. Tommy Toes will grow wild as well, and so will my Romas, which are another type of heirloom that I have growing here next to bale. Now they're next to bale systems, so they're not growing in the bales yet, but the compost is beside the bale, and they'll actually dig in and around underneath the bale as it's breaking down, and it will keep composting on site. So it's a bit like the worm farming systems that I'm talking about, composting next to and beside tomatoes. They really, really perform absolutely brilliant, and you'll get like double the crops on them. And I am removing all the leaves on these and creating central leaders. I'll show you. So I'm taking away all the suckers on those because of airflow and for the rain issues and things. I want blight to be not kill all my tomatoes like it did last season. So now we're heading around to the new spot, the new planting, which is very similar to the one at the front. That was successful, as you saw the hands on the tomatoes. If I can do that with these Tommy Toes, which are twice as prolific as those ones, we will have nothing but success here, even in the rain, because that was it's been pretty wet and they're still doing good with no blight. So I'm really, really praying for success here, and I'll show you. Look at that. Yep, these are about 7 feet to 8 feet tall, the poles. I've got two, so I'm going to split them off into 2 central leaders, grow one up around about a 5-6 foot pole, and the other one up around about a 7 to 8 foot pole. And I'm going to keep a lot of airflow. So yeah, 2 central leaders, not just one, and I'll be pricking off all the new stems coming through, then other those 2 central leaders. I'll go around this huge, it's a 2-year-old Tahitian tree. It's too big to even get onto the Tahitian lime. It's too big to even get onto the screen here. Another mandarin growing beside, just ready to go into flower. It's about the same age. So exciting, having really good food growing here. And I'll show you some of the cherry tomatoes. So cherry tomatoes and cucumbers, and then we've got another tomato here. I'm pretty sure this is a Roma. It's come up just from me throwing seed into the chicken coop. It's right next to the chicken coop, so the roots will go under where they're fertilising, doing all their manure and scratching, and then underneath the compost. So I'm expecting this will pump if it gets enough sun as well. It's already got some flowers, so pretty excited about that. So cucumbers here mostly, and cherry tomatoes, and we've got the plastic down to stop any backsplash, so you can see and the bottle system. So I'll be pouring fertiliser and water into the bottles to stop any water around splashing onto the plants. We're not getting any backsplash, and I've created mounds on the black plastic so the water flows into a trench. So I don't know if you can see that. So the water captures, and I've watched it when it's raining, it actually rolls off the mound and flows in and goes through the center. When it rains really hard, it just washes off. So I think my biggest problem will be if we just get too wet, that the cherry tomatoes split. And also like some hornworm, things like that. So I'll be able to, with creating the 2 central litre system, like you saw with the tomatoes out the front, the tomato berry, I can see if there's any sort of, what do you call it, caterpillars on there. The birds can come down and also grab them. I probably might have a problem with currawong grabbing the red tomatoes, so I might have to cover them with a little net or something like that. They just love them. But also the noisy miner will fly down and they'll eat any of the grubs because they like eating the hornworm grub that will get into the plant. So I'm praying that they will do a good job on that. Now, let me know, what are you doing in your garden this season? Are you growing any different types of heirloom tomatoes? Have you got a new plan? Some places can be really dry, so you want to do something a little bit different to me. If it's going to be wet where you are, you're living in sort of Sydney up to my way, up to the Gold Coast, Queensland border there. It could possibly be wet. Like I said, 45 to 85% more rain predicted in my area. So that's why I'm planting like I am and preparing for that. And I've been really building this whole garden out to handle heavy downfalls and small even flooding. So it seems to be working. Wish me luck. If you're doing anything similar, share it in the comments box down below. Always love to hear what you're saying. If you've got this far, thank you so much for coming to watching the vlogs, and I really love you all and appreciate you coming and checking out the content. Hopefully you're getting some value from me, and we'll say goodbye to the crops down below. Maybe I'll share them in the next video if I get enough traction. All right, see you at the next one. Bye for now.